Aria's heart hammered against her ribs as the cultists closed in, their blades thirsting for her blood. The Avatar's crimson eyes bored into her, stripping away her defenses, her will, until she felt like a fly caught in the web of some abyssal spider. But even as terror threatened to overwhelm her, Aria's gaze darted desperately around the chamber, seeking some means of escape. There, a narrow alcove, half hidden behind a drape of moth-eaten velvet. If she could just reach it. Summoning every shred of courage, Aria lunged forward, ducking beneath the grasping hands of the nearest cultist. She wove between the shadows, her cloak billowing behind her like the wings of a desperate bird. The cultists howled in outrage, their footsteps pounding after her, but Aria did not dare look back. She flung herself into the alcove, pressing her back against the dank stone. The cultists raced past, their cries echoing in the vaulted chamber. Aria held her breath, not daring to move, hardly daring to think. But then a hand clamped down on her shoulder, and Aria nearly screamed. She whirled, her heart in her throat, and found herself staring into a familiar face. Liam, what in the hell are you doing here? Liam hissed, his eyes wild beneath his hood. I could ask you the same thing. Aria shot back, her fear boiling over into anger. Liam, this is madness. These people, this thing they worship. Can't you see it's evil? Liam's gaze flickered, and for a moment, Aria glimpsed a profound terror in their depths. You don't understand, he whispered. The Crimson Abyss, Korzul, he sees into the very heart of you. He knows your darkest desires, your deepest shames, and he promises to fulfill them, to elevate you. All you have to do is give yourself to him utterly. Aria shook her head, horror and revulsion knotting in her gut. Listen to yourself. This isn't you, Liam. You're not some thrall to a bloodthirsty god. You're my friend. And I'm going to get you out of here. Away from these monsters. But even as the words left her lips, Aria knew it was futile. The look in Liam's eyes, that fevered, fanatic light, it was the gaze of a man possessed, body and soul. The friend she had known, the bright, vital boy she had grown up with, he was gone, devoured by the insatiable hunger of the Crimson Abyss. Liam's grip on her shoulder tightened, his nails biting into her flesh even through her cloak. I can't let you leave, he said, his voice quavering. You've seen too much. Korzul demands a price for your trespass. You must be consecrated, anointed in blood and shadow. Aria wrenched away from him, bile rising in her throat.
No, I won't let you drag me into this nightmare. I'm leaving, Liam. And if there's any shred of sanity left in you, you'll come with me.
She turned to go, but Liam's hand shot out, seizing her wrist in an iron grip. I can't let you... But his words choked off as Aria drove her elbow hard into his solar plexus. Liam doubled over, wheezing, his grip slackening. Aria did not hesitate. She bolted, plunging back into the main chamber, and found herself face to face with the avatar of Korzul. The towering figure loomed over her, robes reeking of blood and shadows. Those crimson eyes flayed Aria to her very soul, and she felt her will, her very identity, beginning to unravel like a skein of moldering yarn.
Foolish girl,
the avatar hissed.
Did you think you could escape the gaze of the blood god? All who look upon his crimson majesty are forever marked, forever his.
The avatar's skeletal hand shot out, faster than thought, faster than fear. Aria tried to twist away, but she was a minnow caught in the jaws of a shark. Those fingers, cold as the grave and strong as iron, closed around her throat, lifted her off her feet as easily as a child's doll. Aria kicked and thrashed, black spots exploding across her vision. She clawed at the avatar's wrist, but it was like gouging at marble. Her lungs screamed for air, and she could feel her pulse slowing, her struggles weakening. Through the closing tunnel of her darkening sight, Aria saw the obsidian blade rising in the avatar's other hand. The edge glinted like the blood-drenched fang of some eldritch beast. It hung suspended for a moment that stretched into eternity. And then, almost gently, the avatar lowered the tip to the skin of Aria's chest, directly over her thundering heart. A shock of cold, so intense it burned, radiated from the point where the cursed blade touched her flesh. Aria convulsed, her mouth opening in a silent scream. The shadows seemed to coalesce around them, thickening into a cloying, syrupy miasma that poured into Aria's nostrils, her lungs, her pores.
Now,
the avatar intoned, their voice resonating from the very walls, the very foundations of the earth.
You shall be consecrated in the blood of the abyss. You shall bear the mark of Korzul, and through the curse of crimson, you shall be irrevocably bound to him.
The blade pressed forward, parting skin, drawing forth a beading of blood, black in the guttering torchlight. And as the first drop welled and fell to anoint the stones, Aria felt something within her shatter. A wall crumbling, a floodgate opening to allow the eldritch tides of Korzul to come pouring in. She was drowning, she was burning, she was being flensed and flayed and filled, the blood of the crimson abyss replacing her own. The tenebrous thoughts of the blood god entwining with the fibers of her being. The curse etched itself into her marrow, her mind, her soul, branding her irrevocably as Korzul's own. When the Avatar released her, Aria crumbled to the floor, shuddering, retching bile and shadows. She lifted her shaking hands and saw, to her uncomprehending horror, that her veins pulsed with a bloody, eldritch light. The mark of the maw burned on the skin over her heart, pulsing in time with the slowing thunder of her pulse.
Rise, Aria Vorn, chosen of the crimson abyss.
The Avatar commanded.
Rise and take your place among the faithful, for you belong now, body and soul, to Korzul, and his hunger shall be sated.
And though every fiber of her being screamed in silent horror and negation, Aria felt her blood-soaked body rise, an awful sense of purpose, of dark exaltation, flooding her hollowed mind and heart. For she was chosen, anointed and awash in the blood tides of her God's glorious purpose. And that purpose would drown the world.